These last two questions are some examples of some word problem type equations you could come across. If you treat them as not being impossible, I think you will find them to be fairly straightforward once you get your brain wrapped around the type of question that it is. So for example, two electricians were able to install 42 light switches in one day. There's a fact. Now it says that Joe worked faster than Mike and installed 8 more than Mike. How many switches did each install? The first thing you need to do is you need to pick a letter that you're going to use to represent your number of switches. Let's say we've got to have not only a letter, say X, but who's the letter going to represent? The number that Joe installed, the number that Mike installed. Let's just say that we let it be the number that Joe installed. And we look at the sentence, Joe worked faster than Mike, and Joe installed 8 more than Mike. So we need to come up with an expression with an X in it that describes the fact that Joe had 8 more than Mike. So let's just say that we just pick a random number, which wouldn't work with the 42, but let's just say that Joe picked 50, which is not reasonable, because you only have 42. But if Joe put in 50, that means Mike had to put in 8 less. That's a bad example because it's 42. But just ignore this part for a second for me. Okay, I didn't plan that very well. So if we know that Mike installed 8 less, we can then make Mike be written as X minus 8. We don't know how many they each installed, but we do know they both installed a total of 42. So now we're going to make an equation. This is all about making an equation. So the number that Joe installed, X, plus the number that Mike installed, X minus 8, equals a grand total of 42. There's really no need for a bracket around Mike's because there's no number in the front of that, so we can gather our like terms and say X plus X is 2X, and 2X minus 8 equals 42. We'll bring the 8 to the right and say 2X is going to equal 42 minus 8, which would be 42 plus the 8. So 2X would equal 50. So solving for X, you would divide by 2. X equals 25. So I don't want to see in your answer X is equal to 25. What I want to see is that you know what that means. Go back to your legend and X is equal to Joe. So Joe installed 25 and Mike installed 8 less. So Mike installed 17, and that would be how your answer, and the word switches, of course, to avoid Christy trouble, would keep you on 100%. Now I'm curious if anybody, when we're doing that question together, thought of a different way to set it up. You could very well have said for Mike, let Mike equal X, and Joe could have been 8 more, X plus 8. Would it have still worked? Sure. X plus 8 equals 42 total. 2X plus 8 equals 42. So 2X is going to equal 42 minus 8. So 2X is going to equal 34. Therefore, X is equal to 17. What did X represent? You go back to up to your legend. Mike installed 17. Joe installed 17 plus 8. So Joe installed 25. So there's more than one way to skin a cat, and you could do it either way as long as you finish the question by identifying which person installed the correct number. The last question we'll do it on the next page, but let's read it together here. Electrician wants to cut a 12-foot piece of pipe into 3 pieces. The longest piece is 3 times the length of the shortest piece, and so on. I'm going to just draw a piece of pipe. Okay, we know that piece of pipe, which is 12 feet long, has a long piece, a short piece, and a medium piece, just for visual. And you'll notice when it reads the question, it says that the longest is 3 times the length of the shortest, and the medium piece is 2 feet longer than the shortest. The word shortest comes up quite a bit. So let's let our letter X equal the length of the shortest piece. So I'll say the shortest length. Okay, now we have the medium length and we have the longest length to deal with. The first sentence said the longest piece must have 3 times the length of the shortest. So if the shortest was 2, the longest would have to be 3 times 2. If the shortest is X, the longest is 3 times X. The medium piece is 2 feet longer than the shortest. If the shortest, say, was 4, the medium would be 4 plus 2. If the shortest is X, the medium is X plus 2. Now we do know that all those pieces added together have got to equal 12 feet. So we can do this pretty quickly, make an equation, and solve. I see an X, and 3 X's, that's 5X. And I see a 2. Constant's going to move either side and become an opposite sign. 5X is going to equal 10. So X is going to equal 2. You don't stop there. You go back to your question. You say, in your answer, the shortest length then would be 2 feet, because X is equal to 2. The medium piece is 2 plus 2. The medium piece is 4 feet. And the longest piece is 3 times X, or 3 times 2, which is 6 feet. And that, of course, all adds up to give you 12 feet. Okay, there won't be very many word problems in this section, but you will see a few. And there's a couple on your assignment. There'll be a couple on, maybe one on the quiz, maybe one on a test. So make sure that you don't ignore those. When all else fails, you can maybe even do trial and error, but you won't get full points if the question asks you to please show your equations. So read with caution. Good luck.